Hey everyone, it's Tony. So today I'm going to be drawing my life. So my full name is Anthony Jonathan Saavedra Alvarez, and I am going to be telling you guys about my life. So for starters, I was born on July 18th, 1991 in the city of Whittier to a family of my mom and my dad and my three older brothers, which were obviously super excited to see me because they just knew I was going to be fabulous. And anyways, so my mom, my dad, and my brothers were my immediate family. My grandmother also lived with us in our home. And growing up, everything my parents, where my parents chose to live was just like awesome. My school was really right by me. All my family literally lived on the same street as me till I was like 19 years old. I loved it because all my family was there. My cousins were there. We all grew up on the same street, literally on the same street. I'm not even kidding. Everyone used to live there. And my grandmother used to walk me to school every single day and pick me up every single day. So I loved her for that. In the first grade, I do remember that I didn't want to stay in class alone. And my cousin who went to school with me stayed with me because I wouldn't stop crying that I didn't want to leave. You know, you're in first grade, you don't know anything. You're just kind of scared. You're barely starting your school. And I remember I cried and cried and cried because I didn't want to be alone till she left. And also growing up, my parents were, they still are amazingly hardworking parents. I have one of the most amazing set of parents who are accepting and loving and give me things that I don't even deserve, to be honest. They give me way too much. And I still appreciate everything they give me. My parents have worked every single day, sick or tired. My mom and dad are just amazing and I love them for that. Hopefully one day I can just, buy them their own home and things so that the way they don't have to worry about anything. I do remember that my mom and dad would be up like at 5 in the morning literally every single day getting ready for work, especially my mom, who would always be getting ready, doing her makeup in the morning. That's one of the people that inspires me with beauty all the time. And as I kept growing up, since my parents were always so busy working, my grandmother actually lived with us till I was about 18 years old, and she would wake us up, get us ready for school, make us breakfast. Me and my brothers were so lucky to have her live with us. She was just incredible and so loving, and even though she yelled at us here and there, she was just amazing. She was my G-mom. I loved her so much. She had just so much love to give. And anyways, so we're moving on to middle school now. Middle school was always a little... It's different, I guess, for everyone, but for me, my 6th grade year was incredibly awesome. I loved it. It was just super fun. I got to meet one of my really good friends. His name was Ruben at the time. Well, it still is Ruben, but me and him met during PE, and we just instantly clicked, and we became really good friends. And we did a lot of things together. We used to hang out at lunch. We used to just talk, and I made a lot of friends because of him, because they were his friends from like middle school. And I sadly had like no friends until I met him. We would play PlayStation 2, like Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Sometimes he would spend the weekend, the night over on the weekends. He was just awesome. And 6th grade went by really fast to me. In the middle of summer of 6th grade and 7th grade, I was actually diagnosed to have a learning disability. And that made me have to take like learning disability classes, which meant I wasn't in regular classes anymore. So I couldn't hang out with like Ruben and all of my other friends. So he moved on and like made other friends, and we were just no friends anymore. So I was kind of like a loner for a little bit. I had here and there friends, but not really good friends. 7th grade went by really fast. 8th grade was actually one of the better years. I met one of my best friends through my cousin. My cousin used to date this girl who used to live up the street from us. Her name was Melissa, but I call her Mal, or Malins, because she's got huge boobs. But me and her actually ended up becoming really good friends. We used to hang out all the time and make little notes, and we used to ditch class just to hang out. It was awesome. I loved her. She's still one of my really good friends to this day. In the 8th grade, I actually also met one of my really good other friends. Her name is Christina. I was one day going to like the liquor store, and her house was across the street from the liquor store. And her friend were hanging out and called me over because they recognized me from school. And we just instantly clicked. We hung out for like 20 minutes, and her mom gave us money to go to Taco Bell, and that's just where we clicked, over Taco Bell. We went to eat Taco Bell, which was like 2 miles away, but at the time we just loved it. We walked over to Taco Bell, and she got a quesadilla, and we just hung out and talked for hours and hours. And after this, we just instantly became really good friends, and she's still one of my best friends to this day, even though she's a mom now, and I'm just, I don't have kids, but we're still really good friends, even though we don't get to hang out as much. But when we were younger, we used to always watch movies at her house. her brother would always have all the boys over getting us in trouble because we would stay out super late, and I would go home super late and my mom would be like, you can't stay out that late, you can't be staying out past 10 o'clock. I was like, what, like 13 at the time? It was bad. We moved on to high school, and high school was just awesome because I had my amazingly group of friends at this time. Everyone that I got to hang out with was just the nicest people in the world. I love them all. To this day, if I see them, I still hug them and I love them all. But in high school, I still was in RSP classes, so I was kind of embarrassed, and I didn't tell any of my friends. No one even knew until I was a senior, so I would always show up late to class so that nobody knew that I was an RSP or anything like that, or that I had a learning disability. I would just show up kind of late to class all the time. And one day in the middle of the year, I came home only to find out that my parents had decided that we were going to move about an hour away. And I was heartbroken. I didn't want to move. So we just packed up all our stuff and we drove the 45 minutes, hour, whatever the ride was, and we moved to Rancho Cucamonga, the 909 area. If you guys live out there, I used to live out there. I love it. And I mean, Fontana was a completely different world from where I used to live. The people here just were extremely behind in fashion and everything, but they were all just so rich and glamorous. I felt like I was in Beverly Hills, even though I was only in Fontana, but I hated it because I didn't know anyone. I was kind of like a loner the pretty much first few weeks that I was there. But the first day of school, I do remember that I met this guy named Chris. He was like a junior, I believe. I was a freshman, and he was in my class, and he told me, hey, do you need help finding anything? And he was a football player, so he was like the nicest football player I've ever met to this day, and he helped me out finding all my classes. And also during PE, guys, I met one of my best friends, but I didn't know she was going to be my best friend at the time. Her name was Vanessa. She did not dress up for PE, and I didn't dress up for PE that day because it was my first day, so we just hung out. And all I remember is this girl with glasses and big curly hair, not dressed, and telling me, hey, I'm Vanessa. What's up? Where are you from? And I told her I'm from California, Whittier. And she's like, my best friend Edith is from Whittier as well. You should meet her. So I actually met her friend Edith later on, who's still one of my really good friends to this day. But sadly, I was still really depressed. I had no friends because I didn't have them for lunch or anything like that. So I would go into the library at our school and hack into YouTube because that was the only thing I could do at the time. So I would just watch like viral videos on YouTube at the time. This was back in like 2005. And I was really depressed and lonely. I had hardly any friends. So my mom and dad decided that maybe I should go back to my old school to the beginning of the year. And this actually made me really happy. I went back to my old high school and I loved it. The only thing I hated was that I had to get up like at 5, 6 in the morning every day and drive to Whittier, or my hometown, all the time. And I would fall asleep. I would hardly sleep because I would go to bed late, and I started failing all my classes. Instead of going up, I started going down. I started ditching and hanging out with people that I shouldn't be hanging out with. I fell into this world of darkness, is what I call it now. There was drugs, there were cigarettes, there was smoke, there was things that I don't even want to talk about, but I made the mistake of trying them. But I don't regret it now because it actually made me who I am. Even though I was so lost at the time, it made me a stronger person. It made me never want to do them again. So I called my mom one day and said I want to go home. 10th grade was one of the best years ever. To this day, I still wish I could go back to 10th grade. I learned how to drive. I made so many friends. We went out to parties. We'd go to the movies. We'd go to the mall on Friday nights and walk up and down. That was a cool thing to do. And I became really good friends with Vanessa and this guy Sergio, who ended up dating her. And me and him were really, really good friends. That year was awesome. But in 2008, when I came home, my parents told me we were moving back to Whittier. And even though I was sad, I was actually really happy to go back. I also realized that pretty much all of my friends that I had made throughout high school had either dropped out, they just stopped going to school. And that's actually pretty common in the city that I used to go to school in. I was really sad because everyone I knew had pretty much dropped out. I was only left with about 4 of my friends, which was Monica, Ian, and I forget the other girl's name. But my junior year went by super fast. I just really didn't care for that year. My senior year was actually awesome, but it's really long. Anyways, so I didn't know if I wanted to go to college. I applied for FITM and pretty much got in, but realized I couldn't afford it. So I decided to go to beauty school. I loved making people beautiful. One day I walked by the school, applied, and got in, even though my parents didn't want me to go to school there. And beauty school is just an amazing time. I got to meet amazing people and I learned so much. It really just taught me that I had a talent for beauty. And I also met one of my really close friends now. I actually call her my sister. Her name is Karina, and I love her to death. She's one of my really good friends, and I don't know where I would be without her, because she really just makes me be wild and fun. We go dancing and I love it. But also being in beauty school made me be really alone as well. I mean, you're with your friends in beauty school, but other than that, your friends from high school just stopped calling you. I was at school from 8 in the morning till 5 p.m., sometimes till 10, and I just stopped having friends besides the ones in beauty school. I would call my friends and they would be too busy to hang out. They were doing college, they were going out and partying. Well, I had to be at home studying and things like that. So I got my license for cosmetology, and I just, from there, I moved on. But during cosmetology school, I discovered YouTube's community. I actually found All That Glitters 21. I don't even remember how I found her, but she was the first one I did find. And it was her makeup storage collection video that I found. She was talking about all the makeup, and I remember she had her Bella Swan perfume, and I think she was like in her college days at the time of that video that I saw, and I loved it. And by finding her, I found so many other YouTubers. I found Makeup Geek, I found Juicy Star 7, which was her sister, I found Petralude, and Fafinette, who doesn't make videos anymore, but I found all of them on YouTube. So after watching about every single video that Blair ever made, I was actually really inspired by her to make my own YouTube channel. I used to literally sit there and watch YouTube videos religiously, like beyond belief. I used to just play them all day long. I would go to school, come home, and just watch them and watch them. So one day in like 2009, I just decided I would upload a random video of me showing all the stuff that I got from beauty school, because I had just started beauty school that month, I believe, something like that. I don't remember anymore, but God, if I look back at those videos, I just think, God, what was I thinking? But I still keep them up. I love to watch them when I get bored. And I think like a year later or so, I started actually having subscribers. Like, people would actually watch my videos, and I loved it. It was cool. I used to make videos with my mannequin heads from beauty school, and just how to like flat iron your hair, how to tease your hair, how to do this and that. And it was awesome. It was my favorite thing to do. It was my hobby, what I would do when I wouldn't have nothing to do. And I think like a year later, once I had my license of cosmetology, I was working for this salon that wasn't where I wanted to be in life. It wasn't taking me anywhere. And around that same time, Elle and Blair were having their meetup at the Beverly Center. And I borrowed my cousin's beat up car that windows wouldn't roll down, AC didn't work, no music, no radio, nothing. This car was tore up, and I drove in the middle of August all the way to Beverly Hills with one of my really good friends, and went to their meetup. It was so hot that day that by the time we got there, I was melting. My face was gone. I looked like crap. I looked so bad. Oh my God, you don't even know. I looked like crap. It was so bad. So I was like the 90th person in line at their meetup, and I did get to meet them, but when I met them I kind of froze. I didn't know what to tell them because I was just so nervous to meet them. All I remember is telling Elle, I used to watch you when you were in college or something like that. That's the only thing I remember telling them. We took a picture and I left. I looked like crap, as you can see. And the next day I actually went back to work and I quit my job. I went in, I realized that working there wasn't taking me where I wanted to be in life. I wasn't making any money anymore. It was just going really bad. So I told my boss I didn't want to work for her anymore. She didn't want me to leave. She literally begged me and called me that day to come back, but I knew that I was leaving for a reason and that I would not come back. Plus, like I said, I wasn't making any money. So I decided to quit and just kind of freelance for a while. A few months later, Elle and Blair also had their meetup at Fashions Night Out. So I dragged my friend along with me. We drove up to the Orange County because that's where it was at. And we waited in line even though they told us we couldn't get in line anymore. But eventually did get to meet them. And Elle and Blair gave me their phone case, which was incredible because it was just one of the nicest things that anyone had ever done for me. And ever since then, I just was beyond ecstatic. I was like, they are just the nicest people in the world. So thank you, Ellen Blair. They really had made my year about that time, because things actually went really bad after that. The year of 2011, my grandmother got really sick. She fell and hurt her leg, and the doctors thought they were going to have to cut it off, which was, I couldn't stop crying when I heard this. I remember I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I guess prayers do work, because God actually healed her leg and she was able to walk again. Not as fast, but she was able to walk. And during this time, my grandmother got sick again, which made me really depressed. I got really sad. I would cry a lot because I loved my grandmother so much. She was a big part of my life. So I literally cried and cried. And you even see here, I stopped for a second because I was crying right here. But, you know, she was just awesome. And it was really hard for me to lose her. And at the beginning of the year, I actually lost my grandmother, and it was one of the hardest times for me. I didn't know what to do anymore. I remember that when I found out she passed, I fell on the floor and just cried and asked why. I just kept asking myself, why, God, why did you take someone away from me? And at this time, I fell into this dark world again of like depression and partying and alcohol and just being out all late and not really caring. I gave up on my career for a little bit and just was beyond sad. I went out to nightclubs. I was just out dancing and really not paying attention to anything that I wanted to do with myself. So I was just kind of depressed again. I didn't know what to do with myself. And since I wasn't happy, I kind of threw myself into YouTube. And one day I remember I was in my garage filming a video with my phone when I got a message from Juicy Star 07 on Twitter asking me if I was in town, and I said, of course I'm in town. And that's when she asked me actually to be on Beauty Blogger Bootcamp, which I was like, what is this? Whatever, it's for you guys, I will totally do it. So I went to Beauty Blogger Bootcamp to film. We were gone for quite some time, and like I said yes, and I was super excited to go. I was nervous because I didn't know who I was gonna meet, but I went. So I drove myself over there to the place that we filmed in, and that's when I met a lot of amazing people. I got to meet Giselle, I got to meet Marta, Leah, and all of them. They were just awesome, and they actually all taught me something different in their own way, even though they don't know it. They taught me to just kind of chase my dreams, even though I didn't know which way to go. They all were just so unique in their own way.